So good morning, everyone. We are so thrilled to have you here at our April Accelerator call. If this is your first time on an Accelerator call, if you wouldn't mind putting just the number 1 in the chat, that would be amazing. And that way we can say hello to you and welcome you to the group. I see Wendy, I see Julie, I see Fatima and Sandra and Chris. Beautiful, welcome, welcome. Oh, and Jason and Lori. You're all most welcome to join us. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the accelerators in a moment. Just to set the stage and let you know where I'm coming from. My name is Mindy Stern. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Lived most of my life in New York, but relocated here to the sunny state of North Carolina a couple of years ago. But 10 years ago, I was happily employed. I was in New York City every single day. I was employed as the Director of Human Resources for a large bank. I had been there for many, many years. I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with every single day. And then I got the crushing news that we're being acquired by another bank. My job was eliminated. They didn't need 2 HR directors for sure. So after I held a pity party for myself and for my team, because of course I had to let go my entire team at the same time, I decided to form AIM Resource Group. And I did it very intentionally to help other people navigate their career journeys. I did not want anyone to feel as isolated as I felt at that time. And I have been able to help so many people over the years. And this May 2nd, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. So excited and so thrilled to share that with you. Next month in May, we're going to be celebrating. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that with some freebies we're going to be giving away in celebration of the event. Over the last 10 years, I've done a lot of things, but one of the things I'm most proud about is forming the Accelerator Group. And the Accelerator Career Navigation Group was formed during COVID. And if you all remember COVID, it was a very, very unsettling time. Lots of people were losing their jobs. And we wanted a community that we could support each other. And we formed that community. We started with about 6 people on a weekly call, and we have grown to over 600 now members. And I would love to have you join us if you would like. We have a private LinkedIn group where we support each other. We post jobs, we talk about our events, and we hold these monthly events every single month, and they're always free. So you are more than welcome to join. The link is right on there on the screen right now. And we want as many people as possible to join this community so we can all support each other going through a job search. Anything that is going to deal with your career, we're going to help you navigate that. If you haven't yet dropped your LinkedIn URL into the chat, please do that. You never know who you're going to connect with today on this call who might be looking for exactly the kind of work you're looking for. So if you could drop your URL into the chat and just tell us what kind of job you're looking for, that would be amazing. And if you have not connected with me yet, please feel free to. I welcome all job seekers to join my community for sure. Our next event is going to be on Tuesday, May 7th, when Joey Himmelfarb, and some of you may know Joey, will share his expertise about how to sell yourself to get the job you want. And I know you're going to say, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sell myself. But the truth is, everyone who is a job seeker is selling themselves one way or another to try and get someone to understand what you do and make sure that they invite you to join them in their company. So Joey is going to be here. You get to, if you come next month, you get to experience Joey's unique brand of sunshine, and also be eligible to enter for multiple book giveaways to celebrate our 10th anniversary. Registration is now open for this event. Elsie is going to put the link in there so you can register right away. We will definitely be getting a lot of nuggets from Megan today. Very much excited about that. And so I would ask you, if you hear something that you would like to share with the community, something that is inspirational to you or something you want to remember, definitely put it into the chat so that everyone can learn from that. And I will also take that chat and I will take those nuggets and hopefully put a post up this week about our learnings for today. So it's not just us learning, however many people we have on this call, we want to share that knowledge with everyone. And so if you could share with us in the chat, that would be amazing.
And as you do that, to circle up what Mindy said, you'll also have a chance today. We'll kind of stop and pause throughout today's presentation to have that same opportunity. So if you're more of a listener and you take handwritten notes, you'll see me jotting down stuff and you write it on a Post-it, I'll ask it to transfer something from your notes you're taking into the chat so that we can have those golden nuggets. So.
Beautiful. Thank you, Megan.
Oh, absolutely.
So I am so thrilled to introduce Megan. Megan comes to us with over 20 years of experience in communication, engagement, and development. I was reflecting back on when I met Megan. So it was years ago. We definitely met on Brenda Meller's VIP call. And I remember I instantly was struck by her enthusiasm and her passion and her positive outlook, and our shared desire to help people succeed. We both felt the same way about that, and that was evident. She made a lasting impression on me. And I never forgot that first meeting, because when Megan speaks, people listen, for sure. Megan, you probably don't even remember this, but you were our first guest on our first Accelerator call 2 years ago when we started having presenters.
I vaguely remember this because it was one of those, I think we had done, Julie was in it, we did the interview group. And we had kind of had this small hub, and you're like, look, I've got this career accelerator thing. I think we should bring speakers in.
Yeah.
So I vaguely, but look how much you've grown. I am so excited from, what was it, like 10 to 12 to now we've got 20 plus, 70 registered. So.
Oh, yeah. We got like 600 people in the group. So, you know, it's been amazing. And we've had so many great presenters over the years. But this is exactly your 2-year anniversary, Megan. So I'm so thrilled to have you back here today, celebrating your 2 years with us. And I'm going to spotlight Megan because she's going to share her insight about the art of small talk and how you can leave a lasting impression. The same way Megan left a lasting impression on me, I want you to be leaving a lasting impression on any professional encounter that you have in the future. And Megan's going to show us some ways to do that. I'm excited to learn from Megan, and I hope you are as well. So without further ado, Megan, if you could say hi to the group, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I have to tell you, Mindy and I have a kind of a fun working relationship, both online and offline. We've also been known to shoot a couple text messages back and forth when we're trying to strategize, and whether it's helping Brenda or helping another fellow colleague or job seeker. So major props. If you're not following Mindy, be sure to do so. Connect with her on LinkedIn, and also check out both her group and Brenda Meller's VIP job seekers group. If you need information about that, be sure to reach out to us and we will get you connected. So, and I'll do a shameless plug for Brenda as well, knowing that we, if you haven't gotten Mindy's book yet, Be the CEO of Your Career, you can also grab that book, and you've got Brenda's book, Social Media Pie. I'm a big believer in supporting authors, so grab those. But without further ado, if all of you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. We good? Amazing. Okay, so we're gonna kind of fly through this for a second. I want everyone to kind of breathe in and out as I'm starting to talk as I set the stage. So just kind of collect your thoughts, be with me, present in the moment. But one of the things that we're going to do today, and I'm super psyched about, is kind of walk through the art of small talk. So small talk, often referred to as networking, is a little bit more than what we make it out to be. And it doesn't have to be as complicated and cumbersome and exhausting as sometimes it's made out to be, especially for the introverts or the ambiverts. So if you've read, I believe it's the book Quiet, that and I think it's by Susan King, you talk through that process of there are people who have only so much to give when it comes to networking. So today, I'm just going to ask you to kind of give me your presence and your engagement. That's it. and we'll kind of dive through. So as we kind of walk through this, I want you to remember something. You are here and you are present and you're worth it. So I'm glad you're here. And part of the mindset of any conversation is realizing that you're of value to the conversation. Mindy and I were going back and forth yesterday on, oh my gosh, there's 65 registered, there's 70 registered, there's 80. So that you are worth it. We are glad you are here. So as we've gone through things, by the end of today, you'll see a very similar image that you're seeing now. And this is because we're going to pay things forward. So the purpose of any conversation is to also celebrate and pay it forward to others you know in your network. Just like Mindy asked you to capture those golden nuggets and drop them in the chat, we're going to do the same thing. Now, there's two things you need to make sure you know of that are on Zoom. One is the chat. If you do not have the chat open, please do so. There are going to be a lot of interactive activities that we're going to do inside the chat throughout the call. The second thing I need to ask of you, on the top of your toolbar, you should see your 3 dots in a section that says reactions. If you see reactions, great. If you don't, click the 3 dots at the end of your toolbar, and there should be a section for reactions. You should see things like hearts. You should see things like applause. So you can do recognizing hand gestures, whatever the case may be. So if you see those, go ahead and drop a reaction for me. So like I can put applause in my corner. You should see some emojis. So again, click the 3 dots, which is more. There we go. Mindy's got hers. Wendy's got hers. Sandra's got hers. Excellent. This is my cue. If you start to drop off stuff or raise your hands or flag your hands for me, and even do this if I start to talk too fast, I've only had half a cup of coffee, but I'm drinking iced espresso, not coffee, so it may start to fly, and if I go too fast, just wave me down. But these are also ways if you like something I've said or you need me to kind of linger on it a little more, I can do so. But more importantly, let's dive in. So we are now 20 minutes into the hour, and I want to make sure we get through all of this. So here we go. This is the art of small talk. So thank you to Mindy for inviting me. She is a powerhouse, like I said. Major thank you, and thank you to you for showing up and being part of this. You're here, you're present, and I'm glad you're here. All right, next, this is going to be our agenda, and I'm super pumped because we're going to start off with a brief state of networking. Then we're going to go into introductions. We're going to talk about the art of small talk, and there's a reason there are some sparkles behind that. We're also going to do a Q&A. We're going to talk about leveraging tech to connect, and then we're going to do takeaways and next steps. And last but certainly not least, I'm a big believer in paying it forward, and I'm also a believer in the power of kindness and gratitude. So I try to always wrap up my sessions with something that allows you to kind of create a ripple effect, or what Brenda Meller would call social media karma, which I know Mindy is also familiar with. So if any of you have noticed, the Q&A is built in the middle of our time together. That is intentional because sometimes you come to events like this with questions already in mind. So I'm going to ask you a favor, and I'm going to ask you to please, if you came with a, I want XYZ out of this session, or this is my question I want answered, take a minute and I want you to drop that in the chat for me. And Mindy's got a power team behind the scenes that's going to help me remember to capture those. But if you have a question or an objective that you want to make sure we hit in our next 38 minutes together, please drop it in the chat now so that I make sure you walk away with your expectations met or exceeded. I'm waiting for some of those to come in, questions, objectives, whatever the case is. All righty. So as those are rolling in, here's the next part. Let's talk about the state of networking. Networking is back and in person. I know as an ambassador for Together Digital, I can tell you for sure that we are thrilled that we are seeing double digits at our in-person events that are getting higher and higher than we have in any previous time post-pandemic, which is incredible. So people are back in person, but virtual is still live and on stage. I know Chris Inman's on the call, and Chris can tell you the fact that a lot of his BNI networking groups that he runs in the chambers are back in person. They're doing hybrid events. They're doing virtual events. Wendy and I can tell you from a Together Digital standpoint, we've got a lot of different things going on that are hybrid, but networking is still here. So here's what we know at the state of networking. According to recent research, 95% of people agree networking works. We know on average, like 80% or so of people find their next job through networking, ironically through LinkedIn. That's a whole other thing. The survey was not done by LinkedIn. But we also know this, 74% of people have recorded that they had PRPSA, also known as public speaking anxiety. That anxiety of actually being in a room and having to actually look someone in the eye, have a conversation, and remember what on earth the other person is saying as your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, and you're getting nervous. Here's a fun fact that I recently read, and I think it's important to share. 71% of people surveyed prefer silence over small talk. Let that sink in for a second. 71% of the people they surveyed said they'd rather have silence than no small talk. I agree with you, Santina. You and I are both small talkers, right? And we fill the air, but that doesn't necessarily mean they need dead silence. But think about in terms of a right. You ever asked a question and respond like that? Give people a chance to kind of reflect, think about your question, and then answer it. So 71%. So essentially, if you count 10 people in your next networking event, 7 of those 10 people would rather have a few extra seconds of silence before they respond to a question. All right. This is a fun fact. Only 58% of us dislike talking to strangers. I thought that statistic would be much higher, but some of us don't mind talking to strangers, whether that's because we're Americans and we think everybody needs to know what we have to say. That's a whole other conversation. We will go to that another time. I don't talk politics on calls, but 58% of people really don't like talking to strangers. I also give this stat because I want you to understand you are not alone. You are here and you want to really remember something, all right? So let's kind of pivot, right? So we know that that's what's going on at the State of Networking. This is me.
Happy World Kindness Day. Can you believe it? It is Monday, November 13th. And today I want to remind you that celebrating kindness is one of the most beautiful and powerful things we can do as a human race and as a global citizen. So today, take a minute and do 3 kind things, not just to fill the hearts and minds of others with good feelings, but because it does make a difference for you too. So again, happy World Kindness Day.
All right. Question for you. Were you reading the screen or listening to my voice? If you were listening, yeah. So let me know in the chat, were you listening or reading? Or were you a multitasker and doing both? Here's what we know. Awesome. Okay. Loving this. All righty. So what we know from this is the fact that we tend to have certain dominant ways we engage when we're presented with information. Some of us are listening first, some of us are reading. We don't have to go down that route of your first impression is 93% all nonverbals and visual. But what we do know is that this is important. Now, you're also going to see, this is me. Hi, I'm Megan. Mindy's already shared. I've got a background in communication and marketing. I don't need to dive into this for you a little bit more. You can read what I do. You can check out my profile. I like tech. I like communication, and I really love people. So shifting gears. Now, how many of you see this name tag at an event and there's like a pit in the bottom of your stomach of, oh my God, that means I have to introduce myself to people. It's blank. It's scary. Now, here's what I want you to think of. Having that blank name tag is a symbol for you as well. Great. You get to make introductions of yourself again. Now, Mindy and I share something in common. We share the idea that you have to make a very clear, defined introduction, but I'm going to spin that. You also have to be creative, and you also have to add something a little bit unique so people remember that you introduced yourself, but you also didn't make the conversation all about you. So we're going to go through 5 key things that you can think about. So I want you to look at your hand for a second because we're going to use your hand for a trick. So when you're introducing yourself, I want you to think of it this way. Before we're going to think of it, who, what, where, why, and so that, and how. So if you've had a kindergartner, if you've had someone in elementary school or a student of any age, you've talked about the who, what, when, where, why, how. This is something similar to think about when you're introducing yourself. It's also something that you can tap out to keep yourself from getting nervous. You can tap it out on your leg, on your shoulder, on the table as you're trying to remember what things you want to introduce about yourself. So your name, pretty basic. We know that that's the first one. The second one we know is your role. What do you do, or what do you want to do, or are you looking to do? Next is your industry, your location. So that's your where. So we know who you are, we know what you do, and we know where you do it, or where you're working on helping people. The next one is your specialty. This is my favorite. So how many of you read, if you've read it, give me a 1. If you haven't read it, give me a 2. Simon Sinek's Why. Also, it's called The Infinite Game. He start with why. He's leaders eat last. Tongue-tied. All right. So this is kind of that spin on Simon Sinek as well. He's a wonderful guy that talks about, so why do you do what you do? If you want people to keep talking to you, you're going to tell them why you do what you do. If you want to stop the conversation, tell them what you do. There's a big difference, and we'll talk about that later too. Then, how do you want to keep connecting with this person? Everyone you meet deserves the chance to really stay connected to you, because the more you connect with people, the larger your reach is. All right. So we know the specialty is that, so that's your ring finger, right? Then the connection, that's your pinky, right? How do I want to hook you in the end and make a pinky promise to stay connected? So think of it that way. Now, let's dive in. These are some of the verbs that I want you to just pause and wonder. I'm going to put this in the chat. You can pull it up if you want to see it a little bit more clear on your end. But I want you to use these words instead of, oh, I am a marketing person, I am a director, I am a professor, I am a HR specialist. Find some of these words that really help you define what you do. Oh my gosh, I connect clients with great resources. I lead teams in software integration. I integrate sales for this company with customers in this space. Think of these verbs as ways to leave a little bit more of an impression on someone, and they're called visceral verbs. So you've got the link in the chat. We're going to shift gears now. So back to that blank name bag. So we've got the name tag. Mindy asked you in the beginning to share and introduce yourself in the chat with your LinkedIn URL. Guess what? I'm going to do the same, but now you're going to give me more than just here's my URL and here's who I am. All right. Using those words, you have your choices. You can do, you ready? So you can do 1, your thumb, your middle finger, and your pinky. You can do this one, right? You can do your name, your industry, and how you want to connect to people. You can do your name, this one, your role, and your specialty. So you can do that one. You could also do your name, your specialty, and how to stay connected. So that would be your LinkedIn URL. Or your name, your role, your name, your role, and your industry and your connection. So this one, 1, 2, 3. So with that, reintroduce yourself, please, in the chat. I feel like we need that beautiful classical music playing to get people to feel relaxed and think. I'm afraid to turn my phone on because then I may forget to turn it back off. All right. Can't wait to see. And you can always save that LinkedIn URL somewhere on your computer, on a desk screen, have it memorized. It's so great watching everybody type. And I think it shows. So I recently had a milestone birthday, and I'll be transparent. I had to chuckle because now I even notice, like, I'm looking at the screen closer. So it's fun when we all start to type, then I watch everyone lean in. So all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I think they need a little more time to figure this out, Megan.
It's fine. Take your time, y'all. Think through it. I can go back a step if you want. Here, if this helps. There we go. Loving this, yeah. Thanks, Craig. Very nice. Thanks, Wendy.
Wendy did it.
Wendy did it nice, yeah. Craig, quick tip too, make sure you put the https://. It'll make it a URL. But yeah, I love that you're where you are. Perfect. Yes, sir. Simplicity it is, Craig. Loving what I'm seeing. All right. I will let kind of give everybody a chance. Give you a few more minutes. Not a big deal. I'll give you another minute to wrap up and get that in there.
Megan, this is Craig. I was asking, is it important to have the any of the adjectives in your on the badge?
Ask that one more time for me, please.
Well, you had a listing of adjectives just in
Yeah.
terms of how you describe yourself. Is it important to have that on the badge? I was just trying to keep it with name, function, and then the connection itself.
I usually recommend using one of those visceral verbs because
Okay.
it helps someone remember how you do what you do, not just what you do.
Okay.
So think of it in terms of, if I told you, oh, I do marketing and communications, versus me saying, hey, I engage people in strategic communication strategies so that they improve their marketing.
Okay.
So just a little bit different, but agreed. Yeah, some of them are too long for a badge. Yeah. And I love this. So as you're going through this, there was also an interesting thing that's kind of going viral recently, where people are getting together with their friends and their friends are doing presentations of what they do for work because friends don't seem to know what the other person does. They know, oh, so-and-so works in finance, or so-and-so works in IT, or so-and-so is an engineer, but exactly what do you do? Absolutely love this idea. So, all right, so let's keep rolling. All righty, so here's the meet and greet, right? Here's what we know. You've got your name down, you feel good. Al's about to introduce himself to me, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, crickets, there's a room of like 20 people in here. I don't know who to go to, who to talk to. 70% of the people don't like me. 70% of the people don't want to talk to me. Some of them want to hear silence. I'm just going to go be a wallflower. That ever happened to you? So you don't have to be a wallflower, and I'll tell you how. All right. We'll talk about this in a minute, so keep that specific observation in mind. But here's the meet and greet strategy that I love, and I'm going to walk you through it. So remember those 5 things we talked about. Now, observation. So you'll make an observation. That's a specific observation. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But you'll ask, oh, so tell me, what do you do? They tell you. Here's your follow-up. Here's your follow-up. Now, this is them asking you, okay? So they're like, oh, so what do you do? I'm going to circle back to Wendy's. It was a great example in Fatima's, right? Jeff's the same thing, but you all did a much better job. Now that you have this, I'm going to come into your room and I'm going to go, hey, oh, Wendy, so tell me what you do. Oh, I work in IT and tech. Then she follows up by saying, I connect people to the knowledge and systems they need to get things done with the best possible user experiences. Oh, fascinating. Tell me more about that. 3 power words for your vernacular. Tell me more. When I used to teach, I trained people on sales and inquiry calls for a company, and we used to talk about the power words, right? You don't have to ask these specific questions or these guided questions. You can literally say 3 specific words. Tell me more. If they have a goal, here's my favorite one. Dream for me. What does that look like? Tell me more. Dream for me. Explain that, please. 3 words. So I'll type those again for you in the chat. So you have tell me more, dream for me, explain that, please. Those are your 3 power pops, okay? So having that, I'm going to go back to the words of Simon Sinek in this case. Research has showed us time and time again that when you say, I do this, back to Craig using those verbs, I do this so that this happens, or why, all of a sudden the conversation's going to continue. So I'm going to pause on this. I will send you a screenshot of this. I know there's a lot of stuff on this screen. Bear with me. These are just some of the questions I use to kind of explore a little bit more and take the conversation from the here's what you do to how and why you do it. Things like, tell me about your work. To, oh, what type of reach does your company have? Are they national? Are they local? Are they statewide? Interesting. I might ask Linda, oh, that's fabulous. You've got your PhD. Tell me what you studied, Linda. Fatima does a beautiful job with art. Oh my gosh, have you presented nationally or internationally? She has a really beautiful story. If you're not connected to her, be sure to do so. Her art is multifaceted. So it might be, oh, what do you enjoy about your work? This is a fantastic question. And I think Chris, if Chris is still on the call, if you've heard me ask this, I know some people have at networking events, if you're in Cleveland, what do you enjoy about your work? 9 times out of 10, I will ask this question and the person will stop and pause and go, I've never been asked that. I know what Sandra enjoys about her work. She is a master of patient advocacy. Her bedside manner is top tier. Probably knows more than some of the doctors that are coming out of college, but that's a whole other conversation for another time. Anyway, that's the really cool part. What do you enjoy about what you do? How may I help you? I did a whole thing with Together Digital on this one. Anyway, so these are other questions we can kind of think about. So we're at the 40-minute mark. So here's the fun part. This is how I want you to spark a conversation. Now, you've done your introduction. How many of you, give me a score on a 1 to 5, are feeling 5 is like, oh my gosh, so much better. I'm going to crush every introduction. 1 being like, that was ridiculous. I still hate making introductions. So yes, Jeff, I'm so sorry. If you don't, we can talk offline. I have some great recruiters. Let me introduce you to Mindy. Yeah, so give me a 1 to 5 on how you feel now about making an introduction. Okay, better. All righty. Okay, so I got to get y'all up to a 4 or 5. Okay, here we go. Better, better, better. Yay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. All right, here we go. All right, so let's start with a spark. We remember acronyms as humans. I know this. I have a master's in training and development. I love teaching adults and empowering you to remember things. So here we go. Start with something specific. Praise something or someone. Ask or acknowledge. Request a recommendation. Know what's next. Got it? We will go through each and every one of these. Okay. Promise you, I will send you a screenshot of this. Mindy can disperse it. I will use it. If you want to take a screenshot right now, feel free to do so. If you drop your email in the chat, I will email it to you personally. Okay. So all you have to do is spark that conversation. Here's how. Opening the door to a conversation can start with something like complimenting the environment. Oh my gosh, what a great space. Hey, Marie, have you ever been to this library before? It's gorgeous, isn't it? Complimenting the speaker. Al's pouring himself a cup of coffee at the networking event. I go, oh my gosh. So can you believe that we're going to get to hear, all I can think of right now, Bradley Whitford, or who, I don't even know. I'm just going to randomly make up a name, President Obama, as no joke. I recently heard, this is one of the first speeches. This is a side note about the speaker. He introduced himself as, hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle's husband. So my point being, make a comment about the speaker if you're excited to hear them. The company or the organization, hey, as you're getting your snacks, your food, or you're sitting, just kind of lean over and say, oh, have you ever heard of ... Or if someone has a branded polo on, this is the beauty of wearing branded stuff. Say, oh my gosh, that logo looks familiar. What do you guys do? There's the food being served. Who here likes food and drinks? Like, let's be legit. There is at a co-hatch co-working space. I know Fatima's been there with me. It's in share. They have a seltzer water machine that is like thousands of dollars. Okay. But one of our speakers, our keynote speakers at an event recently came in. The first thing she said to the whole room, she didn't introduce herself. She goes, "Oh my gosh, this place is doing it right. I looked into getting a machine like that." Everybody instantly wanted to talk to her because they had a commonality. The local news. Now, be careful, not politics, local events. Oh my gosh, did you happen to see the construction on so-and-so? Oh my gosh, did you see how those students did an exceptional job at state? Did you know the local basketball team? So on and so forth. Also, where you think you may have previously crossed paths. I can tell you that Chris and I do this constantly with every network. You look so familiar. Are you in the chamber? Where might I have seen you before? Are you in any other networking events? That kind of thing. All right, something specific. Then praise something. I'm so grateful to be here. Here's a list of things you can praise. The events or the host, the organization that's hosting it. I'm so impressed with the events the Chamber's been hosting. A local win for the community. Isn't it great to see our libraries pass the bond levy? A post you saw on LinkedIn. I loved Mindy's post last week. Fatima did a great job of tagging one of mine. As you know, Cheryl, I see some really solid posts. So as you go back, oh, I saw that post you did last week. I know I haven't responded yet, but it was great. A recent project you think they worked on, a volunteer project you think you saw them at. Their company. Oh, I've heard great. Even if you haven't heard fantastic things about the company, this is okay when a white lie is okay. And they're wearing a branded polo. Give them a little pat on the back, just a smidge. Hey, Aussie Petmobile. I heard you do great things for dogs. How'd you get started? All right. Now, this is a hot or cold thing, and this is the one I'm going to talk a little bit. Complimenting what they're wearing, the shoes, the shirt, the purse, the accessory, the tie, the bow tie. Now, you have to be very comfortable and confident that you're also not going to offend someone and make a sexist remark or all that. This is a delicate one. This works really well if you're at a specific type of event. For example, you're at an art gallery and everyone is wearing very vibrant outfits. You happen to be at a fundraiser and there's drag bingo, complimenting the ladies on what they're wearing. This is a little more situational, but all in case you're praising something. So you started with something specific, you praised something or someone. Now you're going to ask a question to keep the conversation going. Remember those 3 words? Tell me more. That's interesting. What was that like? What may I do to help you, to support you, to raise awareness, to introduce you? How did you? Great question if you are on job search mode. Hey, how'd you get started in that industry? What brought you to the company? Are you from the area? What types of people do you follow? What books have you read? What magazines do you enjoy? Who should I be connected to on LinkedIn? Where did you hear about this event? Then, this is my favorite, request a recommendation. All right, here's the fun one. You ready for this? I said, I would love it right now if you requested something in the chat. How many of you that I would love to have a good book to read that's not business? How many of you could recommend a book? If I said, oh my God, have you streamed anything lately or binged watch? I'd love a good show to watch this weekend. Most everybody nods their heads. Using the line, this is a line, I've said that, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. We were just binge watching XYZ. Jack Reacher, you know, Reacher. What's the new one? The Apple Doesn't Fall Far, or Apples Fall, what? I don't know, anyway. But it's that same idea, right? So you're requesting a recommendation. So you've started with something specific, you've praised something, right? You've acknowledged or asked a question. Oh, I like what you're saying about that. Could you tell me more? Now you're requesting a recommendation. Hey, I'm always looking for great books to read. Here's a fun fact. You can also what we call crowdsource this one on LinkedIn for virtual networking. This is a really fun one. Use Canva, use whatever you want, make a graphic on LinkedIn that literally says, looking for recommendations for great podcasts, and tag 3 people. That's all you need to do. Tag 3 people and they'll respond. You can always tag me. Guarantee you can always tag Mindy. You can also tag Christopher G. Johnson. for any and all books. He will have a plethora. So will this person, Eric Colburn. Those two people in books are voracious readers. Okay. So next piece. Oh, job seeker side note. Don't ever hesitate to ask someone, hey, do you know of any other networking events going on? I'd love to connect with more people in our community. Okay. Here's the last one. Know what's next. So, oh my gosh, it was lovely to meet you. Let's grab coffee. Let's stay connected. I hope to see you at the next event. Thanks so much for the information you shared. I really appreciate it. I don't know why my hand is up. All right, so reflections. All righty. So now that you have Spark, specific, praise, acknowledge, request a recommendation, know what's next. Do you have something more to start the conversation? Okay. Now, which part of Spark do you feel the most comfortable trying? Drop it in the chat. Starting with something specific. Requesting a recommendation. Love that idea, Monday. You're always great about that. And I know I can always come to you for recommendations. Cheryl, I think you're good. You've done that really well too. Praising something. Love that, Greg. Starting with something specific. Excellent. Mindy's going to light the world on fire. Okay. The ask. Oh, excellent. And Sandra, you're always good about asking for additional information. Yeah. I'm loving these answers. Okay, now here's the challenge question. Which part of Spark is going to be the trickiest to try? Oh, Santina, I love doing those posts. And you know what? Hold that thought, Santina. I'll use you as an example in a minute. Is there anything that is tricky? It's okay to admit it. Sometimes when we admit it, yeah, the reconnecting, yeah, that's a tricky. Reconnect to something they said. Saying, and sometimes with that reconnecting, for me, it's a matter of just listening and listening to understand, not listening just to look like you're listening. Oh my gosh, do you mind if you'll hear, Mindy's heard me say this a dozen or more times. I'm going to take notes, you all. I'm not avoiding eye contact. I'm a hands-on learner. Do you mind if I take notes as we're talking? I want to make sure I remember what you shared. Yeah, Cheryl, that's always a tricky one. Cheryl, we'll talk about in a second with tech to connect. Nugget, nugget, nugget. Yeah, exactly. Just use it. It's a golden nugget, right? Spark that conversation. All righty. So here's the tech to get you started. Briskine is a powerful tool. Cheryl, this is a great one for you to consider, as well as Tidycal or Calendly. Auto set a calendar for yourself that on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 2, you keep yourself open to meet with new connections or have quote unquote virtual coffee. Matt, I heard this term early on in the pandemic, and I've captured it and used it so much. Virtual coffee is a great tool, but Tidycal and Calendly are both. Calendly is a free tool for one type of appointment. Tidycal is like $29 for your entire life, and you can have countless different types of links. Like I have one that's for virtual coffee. You'll see another one in a minute. Those are great tools. Now I want you all to scan the link on Linktree for me. So yes, pull up your phone. I promise I won't take a picture of you doing something crazy. Try to scan the screen, and thanks to Mindy, I'm going to give her major props because we tested it today and I had to move all the words up on the screen so you could scan it. But go ahead and scan it and tell me what comes up when you hit the scan me on Linktree. So as you're pulling that up, Briskine is a wonderful template tool that I use quite frequently as a follow-up tool. It allows you to create up to 30 different templates that you can shortcut type into in LinkedIn. If you want to know how to use that tool, go ahead and, as you're looking at the link tree, go ahead and click. You can have virtual coffee with me. We can talk about it. Or if you want to install one of the apps I have on here, I'm offering a $50 discount on my tech setup for this quarter to all attendees at my presentations. That's $50 in savings, and we'll spend 45 minutes together getting you set up with one of these tools. Some of them are free. Brisking is free, Grammarly is free, Calendly can be free, TidyCal is $29, Linktree is free. So if you want one to look like I have, let me know. I am here to help. So, alrighty. Next piece, any Q&A. So I'm going to pause here for a second. All right. This is my last ask of today. If you have questions, connect with me. Now, remember what I said in the beginning? You're going to see this image again. You need to share with your best friend or colleague or a connection. But here's how we're going to do it. So this is called viral gratitude. So let's everyone make sure new share. Let me make sure. I don't know if it's going to let me share. Okay. Anyway, going to you were LinkedIn post. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. We're going to fly through this one. So bear with me. All right. So today, before you are done, I want you to pull this up. It is just about lunch, and 12 to 1 is a perfect time to post. You're going to hit start a post. You're going to come over here to your profile. You can just go to the home button, click the blue square. There's two different ways you can start a post. One, shout out to @Mindy Stern for today's accelerator session, whatever you want to say. Your hashtags will be thank you, paying it forward, hashtag recommendations. Oops. So here's what I'm going to do for you. So I'm going to drop something. Copy this link. Hold on. In the chat, I want you to open this link real quick. Open it on another screen that you have. So as we wrap up today's call, you have something to do. You have homework. So it is going to be a step-by-step how to write 2 different types of thank you posts. So open that link in a second video. And ladies and gentlemen, you know how to spark conversations and make more introductions. Questions, comments, disparaging remarks.
Megan, you outdid yourself today. That's what I will say to you.
Thank you.
It went so quickly. Who would believe that it's 12 o'clock already? I don't know if we have time for one quick question. If anyone has, I didn't see any hands raised, but if we did, I think we have one time. Okay. Al loves the tools. I really love the whole Spark conversation. I love that. I love the way to remember it as Spark. I love that. That's definitely going into the post that we'll do tomorrow for sure. How many people, I'm going to ask you in the chat, if you loved this presentation with Megan, go in and put a 5 in the chat. Oh, wow, you got a 10.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. So Megan, this was amazing. Obviously you have so much to offer and so much to talk about. We could probably do this for another hour easily, right? So if we want to get you back on here one day, would that be okay?
Anytime, you know I'm here for you, Mindy. Whatever you all and your job seekers know, it's all about paying it forward. So
And we don't have to wait 2 years for the next one. Right?
I hope not. I hope not. But yeah, so I really nudge all of you to follow up on Mindy's point, help spread the reach and spread the social karma. Mindy and I talk a lot about the things we do just because we love helping others. This is one of the things that Mindy does just to help others and help those in career search mode. So please do a post, do a hashtag job seekers, do the hashtag gratitude, hashtag social media karma. Those are really powerful ways to help spread the reach. And LinkedIn has already set it up for you. So you'll see that in the video post that I just dropped again. You can do that and using the hashtags gratitude or pay it forward. So you also all know how to get a hold of me. You've had 3 different QR codes. I'll send you a link of everything that we did today. So if you attended, you'll have that. And I cannot express my gratitude enough for all of your engagement and for being my cheering squad behind the scene. Having an engaged audience is part of the fun.
Of course, amazing. I want to thank everyone who joined, because I think part of this is recognizing that we do need to have the tools to have those those conversations that can spark renewed interest and create these lasting impressions on people. I think just remembering that, I think, is really important.
Absolutely. You're the nail on the head with that one. Everybody needs a little brushing up sometimes. So
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those hashtags. If you're interested in saving this chat, hope you all know to hit those 3 dots on the bottom and just say save chat. That way you will have it and have all of Megan's great posts in here and her links. Megan, do you think everyone knows how to get in touch with you?
yeah, I can drop it again. So here's the other thing. TR.ee. If you follow that link, oh wait, not that link. Hold on. That's just going to take you to Linktree directly. Hold on. TR.ee / should be that link. That is my Linktree. And you're going to have all my information, how to contact me, how to find me on LinkedIn, how to schedule a virtual coffee. You can see all my, if you want me to speak at your business, I can also do that. But like I said, if you want to spend time setting up some of the tech we talked about to make things easier virtually, let me know. I'm running a promotion this quarter for 45 minutes for $49.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, again, thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me. You're a delight. So
Always my pleasure.
bye. I'll have a fabulous day.
We'll see you all next month.
Bye.